Shalom, everyone. This is Rabbi Shlomo Katz, and you're listening to The Soul of Israel. On the landofisrael.com, on the Land of Israel network, we are at a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday morning here in the hills of Judea. Like our dear friend Ari Fuld of blessed memory would say, the rolling hills of Judea. Today they look really rolling with its majesty and splendor. I don't know, something in the air today, friends. I wish I could give a visual through an audio. I'll just have to use your imagination as best as possible. And we're in a very special time of the year as well, as we are 30 days into the month of Adar. It's, to the holiday of Purim within the month of Adar. It's actually less than 30 days. It's about 24 days, mashu kazeh, something like that. And there's just something different in the air. So I'm so thankful that I have someone that always reminds me of Chodesh Adar and Purim all year long with me this morning, Rabbi Ari Abramowitz.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Why do I remind you of Chodesh Adar?
Because you remind me not to take life too seriously. And that's a compliment.
No, I appreciate that.
I mean it.
I really, that's a thing for me. Like, I have these glasses that I try to wear every Monday. They have no lenses in them.
Just because it's Monday.
Just the glasses frames. I call it for myself Navardic Monday. You know, Navardic was the yeshiva where they would do self-deprecating things to not take themselves too seriously. Correct. I find it to be therapeutic. It reminds me that
So do I need to explain why you are a person in my life that reminds me that I shouldn't take life too seriously?
I appreciate that.
I think since the last time we were able to have a show together, we spent Shabbos together on the farm. My wife and I we went out to the farm for Shabbos, brought our children, and we had an amazing, peaceful, biblical of sorts Shabbos together, and I can't wait for all our listeners to partake in it as well. And please God, we need your prayers to make sure that'll be
it was a huge joy for me, for Shayna, for Jeremy and his family. I just sent you a picture yesterday. Did you get that?
I'm not sure.
It was one of my happiest moments on the farm.
I didn't see
you
yet.
Sitting.
Oh, sure. I did see. And Ari promises to wash each of your feet when you come and visit. Even if you come in the 300 masses, Ari will spend a few hours washing each of your feet, as per was the tradition of our father Abraham. It's an Abrahamic tradition.
Right.
So today in the Jewish calendar is a special day, and it's a day of where what we refer to as the gates are open kind of a day. Today's the 21st day in the month of Adar, and it's the Yortzeit, is the anniversary of death of a huge, huge saint, of a big tzaddik, who by even mentioning his name, it gives you the shivers, and it does something for you. And we're referring to the great Hasidic master, the Rebbe Elimelech of Lizhensk. His merit should protect each and every one of us. The Rebbe Elimelech of Lizhensk is a mystery. We know a lot about him. We have a lot of stories about him. We could tell you when he lived, his brother's name, his children's name, his parents' name, who his teachers were, what his deathbed was like. We have a lot of details about him, and yet his character and his existence in this world is shrouded with mystery. His sainthood was unparalleled. I once heard in the name of the great Belzer Rebbe, the first Belzer Rebbe, Reb Shalom Belzer, he said that he once met a Jew who had met the mother of the Noam Elimelech. And it gave him great excitement that he met a Jew that met the mother of the Noam Elimelech. And they asked him, why did you...
It's not like he met the mother... He met a Jew that met the mother.
He met a Jew who met the mother of the Noam Elimelech, right? What's the big
symbol? Like the Rabbi Shlomo story of the street sweeper.
Yeah. He met someone...
once removed.
Right. This is like 3 times removed, right? Not even that he didn't even meet someone that knew Rebbe Elimelech, someone that knew the mother, that met, I think, he saw the mother of Rebbe Elimelech. He was so excited. It made him so happy. And the question is, why? So he said, had I not have met someone that met the mother of the Noam Elimelech, I really wouldn't have been able to assure that the Noam Elimelech came into this world humanly.
That he wasn't a legend.
Or a myth, angel or something. Yeah.
Oh, I see them humanly. Okay.
Yeah.
That he had a mother.
Meaning the fact that he had a mother that birthed him into this world brought such simcha to the Belzer Rebbe, because the stories about the Noam Elimelech are from another world. There are another world. His sainthood and his relationship with his brother Rebbe Zusha is something else. Just to give a brief, I wanted to talk about him today because I feel like it's a very important yid, a holy Jew, to connect our souls to this tzaddik, and specifically to a specific story and a prayer that I want to share in a second. The Rebbe Elimelech of Lizhensk, he is buried in a town called Lizhensk in Poland. Have you ever been there? All right.
Have we been there?
We didn't go together. You must.
So if we haven't been there, then I.
Oh, because you didn't do any separate trips. Okay, I was there twice. Once when I was 16, and once last 2 years ago. The Rebbe Elimelech of Lizhensk. I'll just tell you guys an incredible story. When the Germans, Yimach Shema, made their names be blotted and erased forever.
Amen.
When they were beginning their what would you call it? 1939. Their
crusade.
Yeah, their crusade. So I think it was either late 39 or early 40 that they reached the town of Lizhensk, and they were destroying and massacring everything in their sight. And they got to the Jewish cemetery there, and they got to the kever of the Noam Elimelech. And they had Jews go they wanted to rip the Noam Elimelech, the remains, out of the burial spot. I don't know if they wanted to make a highway there. I don't know what their story was. And the Germans freaked out when they realized that when they opened up the grave of the Noam Elimelech, the body of the Noam Elimelech, who had died in the late 1700s, we're now talking 1940, was full, as if he just died 2 minutes ago, actually, even with heat and red in the face. They immediately closed it up right away. They didn't mess with that. And after the Holocaust, a huge monument was then placed on the burial spot of the Noam Elimelech. The Noam Elimelech is from another caliber of righteousness, of holiness. His book, the Noam Elimelech, was a book that Hasidim would only learn. I'm telling you that not everyone, but the real Hasidim would only touch that sefer Friday afternoon before Shabbos, after they went to the mikveh, after they immersed themselves in spiritual cleansing waters.
Post mikveh, pre-Shabbos.
Correct.
That was the window of time for that sefer.
Amazing, huh?
That's the only time where they were holding.
Many of them.
Yeah.
That's like that. That's their thing. That's when they went to the sefer, the Noam Elimelech. We don't hear these stories about other Sfarim. It's something else. His book is very hard, shrouded also with mystery. In the prints that we have, you'll find many, many, many different stars placed all around the text, like in places that you don't understand. You might think it's a publishing mistake, but those were stars that the Noam Elimelech himself had placed throughout everything.
Like an asterisk?
If I knew what that word meant, I might be able to say yes.
Okay, was it like a Magen David or just like a
no, stars. Yeah, I don't have one right next to me, but I'll show it to you later.
Okay.
In any event, the Noam Elimelech, I'll just share a story or two about his life. He took his experience in this world one of very much seriousness, and his dveikut, the levels of clinging to God that he reached with his service of Hashem, are unparalleled to anyone. He was a student of the Maggid of Mezrich, Reb Dov Ber of Mezrich, who was the successor of the Baal Shem Tov. And an interesting story which will explain how far he took his service of God is as follows. The peak of the prayer services on Shabbos is the Musaf Kedusha, where we say, Keter Yitnu Lecha. Crown they will give you, Master of the world. It's a moment. It's like a mini moment of what we do on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur when our Avodat Hashem, our godly service, involves crowning the king as king. V'yitnu lecha keter melucha. Everyone, the whole world will come and crown Hashem as king and place a crown upon his head. Well, we have a little bit of a taste of that and the Kedusha service of Musaf, where we say keter yitnu lecha. That's when you daven the Nusach Sfard, that's the Nusach of mine from home. What would happen, everyone noticed that whenever they reached that spot of Keter, the Noam Elimelech always took out back then watches were like on chains, right? They didn't wear watches on their wrists. They had like a little clock like a watch on a chain. Every time they reached the Keter point, the Noam Elimelech would grab something from his pocket, he'd pull it out, and he'd look and he'd check the time. Now, this was not just pretty bizarre. This was extremely bizarre from someone like the Noam Elimelech, who was known for his dveikus, for his adherence to every word of the law and in the spirit of the law, that Dafka here at this peak, this high moment, he's taking out his watch and he's checking the time. So I don't know who had the chutzpah to actually approach Noam Elimelech and ask him, but someone did and said, Reb Melech, what's pshat? What's going on over here? So he said as follows. He said, you're probably wondering why I keep on looking at the time at this high moment. He said, he says, it's clear to me as daylight that at that moment, the sweetness of love that exists between Am Yisrael and God, when we say, Keter yitnu lecha Hashem Elokeinu, there's no greater sweetness of love that exists in the world. There's such infinite oneness that exists at that moment that I know that if I let myself get caught in that moment, I'll expire. So what do? I look at something that confines me within the confines of this world, which is time. So I look at something that kind of like...
It anchors him.
Anchors me, because if not, I know I'll expire. This is the kind of person we're speaking about. It's another kind of person. I'll tell you another story I just heard yesterday. The Noam Elimelech was one time in the presence of his mother while either his child or his granddaughter was also in the room. And he noticed that his granddaughter kind of put her hand, like smacked away her mother's hand, like a little kid was a little bit of a tantrum. And the Noam Elimelech said, basically to the kid, you realize that you're taking your hand and going over a mitzvah aseh from the Torah, a commandment in the Torah which says mitzvah lo aseh, which says lo tak, makeh aviv ve'imo mot yumat, that if you hit your parent, you shall die, right? So the Noam Elimelech heard from his mother at that moment. She said, you think you were different when you were a kid? And he said to her, are you serious? Did I ever hit you away when I was an infant? She said, yeah. So he took his right hand and he placed it into the stove.
Oh my goodness.
And he said, this hand, this cannot exist anymore. And when he pulled his hand out of the stove, it was completely burnt up and charcoaled. And then the story is that he put his hand back into his coat, into his kapota, and when it came out, it was normal again. And then Noam Elimelech says, don't think for 1 second that this is the same hand I was born with. Because the hand that I was born with was capable of hitting its mother. I had to get rid of that hand. This hand is not that hand. So you see, when I say that, the more stories we have about the Noam Elimelech, the more that he's shrouded with mystery. And his teachings are shrouded with mystery as well. Because the whole book of the Noam Elimelech is speaking about the role, mainly, speaks about the role that the tzaddik plays within Am Yisrael. It's funny, they say in Chassidus that the Noam Elimelech is the Sefer of tzaddikim. The Tanya, the Alter Rebbe, the Chabad, that book is the Sefer of Beinonim.
Right.
And Likutei Moharan,
define Beinonim,
like the middle ground,
yeah.
The middle, and then it says that the Sefer of Rishaim is Likutei Moharan. It always talks about the people that are falling up and down into Gehenna. But as holy as he was, Rebbe Yitzchak Berditchever would say about himself that he feels bad because he must have had to create a new department in Gehenna that never existed before for people like him. So we're speaking of someone that's just, it's very, very mysterious.
And whether you believe every single aspect of every single story or not, what you can come away with is this is the stuff legends are made of.
And like the Reb Chaim Tzanzer said, whoever believes every Hasidic tale is a fool, but if you don't believe them, you're evil.
Right.
So, choice is yours, So anyway, what I wanted to just share and actually pray with each of you is a famous prayer that the Noam Elimelech wrote. I actually said it this morning, and I learned it last night with some of my friends. And those of you that are familiar with Jewish music, one of the greatest singers of our generation, a very, 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 very special Jew. I know him personally. I've performed with him before. His name is Avraham Fried. Approximately 25 years ago, on his album, one of his albums, he came out with a song called Adrabe. And I'll sing it soon. And basically, it's a few lines from a prayer that the Noam Elimelech composed. But before we say that prayer together, I hope it's okay. We're doing a little bit different style today. I want to shift another story. Are we okay with
You're
that?
great.
Okay. Listen, Hashem gave us the Torah. The first book is only stories, and then he starts telling us commandments, right? So This is how he created the world. So the story is as follows. At one point, a group of Hasidim of the Noam Elimelech were standing outside his house when out of the blue, a bunch of very tall people came out of nowhere and started walking into the Noam Elimelech's house, but none of the Hasidim of the Noam Elimelech that witnessed this could make out any of the faces. They just saw a bunch of very tall men going into the Noam Elimelech's house. And they waited for a while, and when these people came out, all they were able to see were the images of a bunch of tall men, but they couldn't make out any of the faces. And these tall men came out, went into a wagon, and left. Very strange. The Hasidim that witnessed this went into the house of the Noam Elimelech, and the Noam Elimelech looks at them and he's like, "You're probably wondering what just happened over here, right?" So he told them the following. He said, "I've come to the realization that it's so difficult for man to concentrate with all the prayers that he has to do due to life constraints and parnasa, and I don't have the time to sit for 3-4 hours or even an hour in daven. I feel so bad. I was feeling so bad for Am Yisrael that I was going to take all the prayers and make one concise prayer out of all of them that would include all the kavanas in them, so that way people wouldn't feel guilty that they're not able to finish everything, and people wouldn't be distracted while they were in the state of prayer." So do you want to know who those people were that just came right now? Those were people, men of the Great Assembly, Anshe Knesset Agdola. Those were the people that formed the prayers. Now, just to give our listeners a little bit of an explanation, we're speaking about people that lived about 1800 years before the story took place. They came to me and said to me, "Melech, your kavanas are good, but please don't change anything. You can't change anything. You got to figure out another way to have compassion on Am Yisrael, but don't change even one word of the prayers." So the Noam Elimelech said, I listened to them, and I came up with the following prayer. Now the following prayer is called Tefillah Lifnei HaTefillah. It's a prayer before you start davening. And if you look in most Sidurim, it's actually in most Sidurim. I'm sure it's in your Siddur, Ari, at home. What's called Tefillah Lifnei HaTefillah. And in this prayer of Noam Elimelech that he made for you and I to feel less guilty about not being able to be that concentrated, he goes into the depth of what we're really begging Hashem. We're begging Hashem to live lives of giving him nachas. And we're asking Hashem to make that, how would you say, feasible. Just to make our daily life feasible, that what we do in this world brings you nachas. Now he ends off the prayer, which is really supposed to be an aid for each and every one of us to feel that we can stay connected. And I'm going to sing the song first, and then we'll discuss it. It's very short. This is the song I was referring to before from Avram Fried. Adrabe ten belibeinu shenire kol echad malas chavereinu. Please may obey your will and place into our hearts that each and every one of us, when we look at the other, is only able to see the good points and not the blemishes. V'shenedaber kol echad es chaveiro b'derech hayashar v'haratzui mefanecha ve'al yale belibeinu shum sina me'echad al chaveiro chalila. And when we speak about our friends, no matter what we're saying, may it always be the straight path and what's wanted before you, and no hatred should ever come into our hearts, and it should never be spoken about one person to another, God forbid. Utechazek oisanu be'ava Elimelech. Make our love for you be something that can't be moved, can't be touched. Kasher galui ve'yadua lefanecha, like only you know. Sheyehei hakol nachas ruach. Everything we do should be to bring you nachas. Nachas means pride. It means making you feel good in a very holy way. What would you put? Other word would you put? Nachas.
Prideful comfort.
Yeah, that's good.
Comfort.
Nachas. Sheyakol nachas ruach eilecha. That's what Rebbe Elimelech of Lizhensk, how he ends his prayer before prayer. It is his listening to the people that came to visit him from the time men of the great assembly, saying, listen, don't change any of the tefillahs, but do your thing. So I want to invite each and every one of you to find that prayer and to go over it this week, to read it one day. If any of you are interested in us emailing the prayer, please email me, shlomo@landofisrael.com or ari@landofisrael.com. We'll email you that prayer both in Hebrew and in English. But I just wanted to really share my heart about the Noam Elimelech today, on the day of his passing, which we know that the days of the passing of the great saints might have been very painful down here in this world, but in the higher worlds it was a day of great celebration where the soul was reunified in an unconcealed way, fully revealed way with their master of the world up in Shamayim. So these days are very, very big days. And the week that it happens, even if we're recording on Tuesday, but if you hear this on Wednesday or Thursday, till Shabbos, this week is filled with the energy of the holiness of the great tzaddik Rebbe Elimelech of Lizhensk, and may we merit to live with those words that in our hearts we're not capable of seeing bad things in our friends, and in our hearts we would never be able to then come to a conclusion that under any circumstance it would be okay to speak ill of one another. And that alone should remind us every single day that we bring nachas to our parents, to our Abba in Shamayim, to our Father in heaven.
Amen.
Have a beautiful rest of your week, and may we all celebrate every moment of having a privilege of being sons and daughters of the King.
The Land of Israel Network presents the Israel-inspired retreat, Rosh Chodesh Adar Bet, a 3-night event by the Dead Sea, Thursday through Sunday, March 7th through March 10th, 2019. Spend an unforgettable Shabbat with your hosts, Ari and Shana Abramowitz, Yishai and Malka Fleischer, Jeremy and Tehila Gimpel, and special guests at the 5-star Royal Dead Sea Resort. Uplifting prayers, dynamic lectures, inspiring Torah, one-on-one meetings with the hosts, a special women's program, children's camp and babysitters, guided meditation on the beach, live music and entertainment, exciting hikes and excursions. For more information, visit our special website, thelandofisrael.travel. That's thelandofisrael.travel for the Israel-inspired retreat at the Dead Sea.